In this video, we will be talking about an interesting field of software engineering and electronics engineering. Internet of Things. I will be talking about what is this field about and how can you get started in this cool and awesome field. Hey, I'm Kamran and welcome to my channel where I talk about different part of software engineering, try to teach software languages and share some fun with my viewers. If you are new here and you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, hit the red button down there to be updated with awesome videos. So let's start with the Internet of Things. First, the definition. In simple words, IoT or Internet of Things can be defined as controlling hardware through software over the Internet protocol. Yes, that's the simplest definition I can come up with. The whole IoT device has two major parts. One which actual hardware placed on the ground. The other is the controlling device which controls the hardware at the ground. Hardware devices are connected to the internet and have some receiving point, and on that point the controlling device sends data over HTTP, TCP or UDP protocol and controls it. This is all about definition. Now we can discuss a practical implementation of an IoT. So there are many fields where IoT is implemented and doing great. Major fields are home security and automation. The most common field of IoT is home automation. It is the most loved field where people are accepting it a lot. Companies like Simply Safe are leading in this field, which creates home security and automation devices. The second major field where IoT is so famous is advertisement. Major companies like Cooler Screens are working in the ad industry with IoT. They are making consumer lives easier in shopping centers by giving them a better experience of advertisement. They show ads on the IoT based screens on the Cooler Screens in the shopping centers. Automobiles are the major company which are taking a lot of benefits from IoT. We all know about auto brand MG Hector. The main selling point of that car is that they are internet cars. They play a lot around controlling their cars over internet. My favorite is the energy industry. Companies like Inspire Clean Energy are working towards clean energy through IoT and helping nature and people in a smart way. The most common application we forgot to mention are Alexa and Google Home. How they control your home appliances. There are lots of other industries where IoT is in progress and making a game-changing moves. The best part of IoT is even if it seems complicated, but anyone can get started working on it and can create a small IoT on their own. I will tell you the list of things which you require to get started on IoT based devices. This list will include hardwares and programming languages on which you have to work. You can even team up with someone who knows anything on the list and then you can create some awesome devices together. First and the main item on this list is Raspberry Pi. So you will need a Raspberry Pi, which is a tiny and affordable computer that you can use to learn IoT. You can make small fun projects using that. So Pi has its own memory, ports, and even you have to install OS on it. Raspberry Pi supports Linux OS and its own Raspberry OS. So you have to install that on the Raspberry hardware. I will add the link of the official site like where you can get the OS as well. The official Raspberry Pi magazines are also available in the market through which you can like learn new things, what are the updates on the Raspberry Pi and other cool stuff developer builds around the world. You can connect to the internet through Pi and run your own code on it. Basically, Pi can be considered as an individual computer and you have to communicate between your personal computer and this Pi. On the first go, you will need some internet cable and Wi-Fi to set up the Raspberry Pi, and then you can connect to the internet via Wi-Fi also. This is just a theoretical session, so I will not be setting up anything. But if you need a practical session, then comment it down. I will surely make a video on that. So once your OS is installed in the Raspberry Pi, if you know C, C++ or Python, then your work is done to code on Raspberry Pi. Python is the most popular language which we use on Raspberry Pi for its own reasons. So I will leave the link to buy Raspberry Pi and necessary cables in the description below so that you can buy it and get started. You can also find the guidance on the official website of the Raspberry Pi where you can follow and set up the Raspberry Pi. So this is all about the Raspberry Pi. On the other side, you can simply create web server in any language you want to communicate with the Raspberry Pi, and you have to create a user interface as well to send the commands to the device. So that is all. I will leave up to you how you can create a UI and server which can communicate to Pi over the TCP or UDP. Once your server is ready and your Pi is connected to the internet, You can connect your server with your Pi through its IP. This will set up the whole IoT device. Now you can test the communication between the your web server and the Raspberry Pi. So once communication is good, now we have to create some application out of it. So for a start, we can create an alarm system which will alert you whenever someone touches anything on your computer desk. For that, you will need a PIR motion sensor, which are available cheaply in the market and easy to integrate with our Raspberry Pi. I will add a link to buy that in the description as well. Now you have to connect that sensor with your Raspberry Pi at any port, and whenever a detector detects any motion, it will send some data to your web server. And from there, you can send an email alert or an SMS to your personal phone. Once again, I am adding, if you need a practical video on the basic project, comment it down and I will make one for you. So this is just an overview how you can get started with an IoT device. I bet once this basic device is done, you will feel great. And then you can buy different sensors and output devices to connect to your Pi and play around it. So if you like this video, first hit the like button and go to the description to buy the Raspberry Pi and start your own fun project now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to never miss a video on new tech and programming languages. Happy coding everyone. See you in the next video.